Yes. All right. As I was working out, I was in New York. I was working out at a gym, and I ran into my old friend Rock Stonewall. One of the points I wanted to make is it was back in the 1950s in Chicago. It was fairly racist. There's no denying that. And a lot of my friends' parents said that they thought my parents were nuts, allowing me to go down and hang out with a black guy. And my father, who grew up on a farm in Minnesota, he just did not have a prejudiced bone in his body and was very anti-racism of any kind. And he would just drill that into us. And for me, I didn't care if Rock was black or green or blue. I just wanted muscles. That's all I cared about. So now I'm in my early 80s, an executive at the LA Times, younger than Jack is now. And I run into Rock at a Mid-City Health Club, or Mid-City Gym, Mid-City Health Club it was called. And then he was working at a health club, or a health food store. So I came over to it, and he suggested we pose like this. I don't know why. In any event, he had some health problems and died at 54. It was kind of a sad story. And that actually relates to something that the bodybuilding has done for me now, is I want to use it to live. My goal is to live to 98 in good health, with a clear mind, lots of love, and excited about life. Just as I am today, just as I was then. And I set these as goals. So if we go forward, at that time, you can see I was just making progress. This is working with Franco. Then at some point, there was this five-time Mr. Universe fellow, Bertil Fox, who came up to me and said, "Would you like to be my training partner?" And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, you're bench pressing 500 pounds. I'm bench pressing 200 pounds. How are we going to spend all day taking the legs off? He said, no, it's mostly pins. They have several benches. Plus, let's find a third person. There'll be three of us. And that way you guys can both help me and so on. So I went up to this guy. He had blonde hair. I've seen him a lot in the gym. He was very quiet. He was working out. Introduced myself and said, would you like to work out with Bertil and me? And he said, no, I can't. It's too heavy. It's way too big a challenge. I said, I know. That's what I said. But you and I can work out together and we can help him. We can learn a lot. Come on. His name was Mike Myers. So Mike said, okay. So, and some of you know Mike worked at Creators as a salesman for a number of years. That's good dieting. We're dieting. We got these confused. Okay, there's Bertil. There's Mike. There's me. Back in the early 80s. Now, Bertil's story was quite tragic. He wound up in getting into a fight with his girlfriend and her mother, and he shot both of them, and they died. And he's in St. Kitts, sentenced to life in prison. I do think that was. I personally think, because he was fundamentally had a lot of kindness in him, but I think when those steroids and all the human growth hormone, all those chemicals, can make you nuts. And I think that, I don't know any other explanation. It's a very tragic situation. But working out with Bertil and Mike, 2 hours a day, 6 days a week for a couple of years, I learned so much. Now, Joe Gold, he had kind of a wicked sense of humor. And he would tease everybody in the gym. And I remember once, like he used to call Arnold something like Fat Boy. But I remember one time he said to me, I was waiting for Bertil and Mike, he says, hey, how come Bertil keeps getting bigger and you and Mike keep getting smaller? And that was because, you see, if you're going to work out that hard, you really need the steroids or something to, okay. Now, as I said, my goal was to look as good as that fellow on the original cover I saw. And that was, his name is Guy Mirzik. He's French. He's in Monaco. I corresponded with him maybe 20 years ago. We talked on the phone. I told him, man, you were my hero. And in broken English, he told me he has a supplement that enables you to live for over 100. And did I want to buy some? He kept trying to sell it to me on the phone. I declined. I don't even know if he's still alive. But anyway, I had some pictures taken, and you can see I got there. Now, then what do you do after that? Once you reach a goal? So I kept a journal the whole time. Every year I have one of these for every single year. I keep one this year where I write in how much I worked out, or it's just to sort of keep track of everything I've done. I did the book with Franco for businessmen. I was featured in Muscle and Fitness magazine as a businessman who's achieved a lot of bodybuilding success. And then what happens is you get momentum. You see, now, to me, working out is like brushing my teeth. I have to work out. I have to work out at least 6 hours a week. And I've got my own workout with light weights, doing a lot of the same exercises Mike and Bertle and I did that I learned, or Franco taught me that I learned, or Rock Stonewall taught me 50 years ago. And now it's like if people say, oh, you should try this workout, you should try that, I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing, trust me. And like I say, I turned 65 this year. My doctor says I have the lipid profile of a 30-year-old. I feel terrific. I don't feel any of, I mean, the idea of retiring is just ridiculous. That's why I'm so excited about building a book publishing company.